My poor mother came with bound feet. In those days, she was one of the unlucky ones to be in that era. So she walked that way, and she lived to be 93 years old and walking on those knuckles. After she had the four children, he dies. And I was about 5 years old, and I don't remember him at all. I think he was in the hospital for a couple of years with something, and they never did tell me what it was. Anyway, he died and left her in charge of the four children and a little grocery store that she had never run before, and she didn't know the American language. She didn't know the English language. She didn't know Spanish language. We were located in the Spanish part of town on the wrong side of the tracks.
So, could you tell us more about your story when you moved to San Francisco after high school?
Oh, that was very interesting. I was so discouraged in Arizona because they wouldn't hire Chinese, and I didn't know where else to go. And even they all wanted you to stay in your own family grocery store, which was all right. It was all right, but it was boring to me, and I didn't like it, so I made up my mind to go. So I went to San Francisco with my $25, and I just happened to meet a lady friend whom I had met the summer before. She came with her daughters to Phoenix to visit, and I met her just that one summer, and she gave me her address. So I didn't know I was going to San Francisco, but here I was in San Francisco, and so I looked her up. And she was right around the corner from Chinatown. In those days, we could stay in a Chinatown hotel for $1 a night. We call them the little flea houses. And so I went to visit her, and she remembered me. And so when we got to talking, she asked me where I was staying. I said I had no place to stay yet, and I was going to look for a place. She says, oh, well, I happen to have an empty room where my son moved out, and if you want it, you can have that room. So I was real happy. I jumped at it. So I looked through the want ads and found the first job that I saw in the paper was a housekeeping job. Well, I said, well, any dummy can do housekeeping. I worked there for a while, and then through another friend of one of the girls, she heard of this Chinese fellow called Charlie Lowe was going to open a Chinese nightclub in Forbidden City. It was right before the war in 1940, and he was going to open a Chinese nightclub, the first Chinese nightclub in San Francisco. So we had to find girls, and they couldn't find many girls because the Chinese girls in San Francisco, the parents would not let them go out in public and dance in short clothes. But there was 5 of us that had no ties, no families. So we were of age, but we had no ties, so we got together, the 5 of us, and we applied for it. And we started out when it was brand new, and they had a hard time starting up, but luckily Life magazine, which was big in those days, do you remember the big Life magazine? They gave us a big spread on the paper, I have that here, and in their magazine, and that brought a lot of people to the nightclub, and then the war started up, and we had all these soldier boys coming. They started coming to the nightclubs, to spend their money on their free times. And the business really perked up, and he really did a good business all during the wartime. He just happened to open at the right time.
You didn't have any dancing experience?
No, that's the funny thing, being Chinese, none of us had experience when they took us because they knew nobody had experience. And they taught us, and we were lucky, as long as you could count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and just keep in time with the music, and we did. It just happened, and they taught us, and it was really great.
So, was that your nickname?
Yeah, that's me. I was called Butch because when I was working in the restaurant, I was young and a lot of energy. I used to go up and down the stairs real fast and turn the corners real swiftly, and the owner was a young man. He says, Butch, slow down, you're going to bump into people. I came back after San Francisco. I came back and I was married and I had 2 children, and we moved from Phoenix to Tucson because my husband's family lived in Tucson, and they had a business, and they leased one of their businesses to us to run a grocery store, and so that's how I happened to come to Tucson. I've been here ever since 1950. So that's about the end of my story.